Well, hello there. You are listening to Nellyville, the podcast. If you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. And that's the truth, honey. Let me tell you something. What y'all know about Whoopi Goldberg? One of the greatest actresses to ever do it. Hello? Miss E got herself. Y'all don't know nothing about Whoopi? Come on now. If you wanna be I ain't even gonna do it to you. Anyways, first of all, let me just say something. I really am over here thinking that I'm Wendy Williams. Okay, let me tell you something. I got my little coffee, you know how Wendy used to do. She come out, she have a little coffee. She be like, Suzanne. Like it's giving very Jersey girl today. Okay, I feel like Wendy every week. Let me tell you something. At the beginning of my show, y'all heard the little intro or whatever. Now, I could add that in post. But what do I do to really turn it on, to really get prepared for you guys? I listen to my intro. I pretend like I'm giving myself a 5, 4, 3, 2, you're on. You know what I'm saying? I listen to my intro and I'm like, okay, let me turn it on. Let me get into gears and go. It really gives it to me. So, you know, Wendy Williams will come out, you know, how you doing, and shout it out. Ooh, ooh. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and speaking of Wendy, congratulations to her. Y'all see the headlines and the stuff that it come to find out she did not have the disease that they claimed that she had that required her to be under that conservatorship. Baby, all that truth is coming to the light, and I love that for her. I'm glad Miss Wendy is getting some justice. Hello. Anyways, let's move it right along. Congratulations are also in order for a couple of other people. First of all, I like to say congratulations to Busta Rhymes. Busta, what it is right now? What up? What it is right now? Woo-ha! Mr. Woo-ha himself. Guess where he gonna be, y'all? All up in the Macy Thanksgiving Day Parade. I know. Busta Rhymes. Did y'all ever think that the day would come that Busta Rhymes would be at the Macy's, New York, Thanksgiving morning, the parade of all parades? I know this is where we are, America. And a win is a win. Now, I hope, not that I can remember or that I can recall, I don't think Busta Bust is canceled for anything. And I'm sure somebody will let me know, well, why you supporting him? You know, he, not to be negative. I'm just going to try to clear my name. Look, all I know is there was once upon a time that you would never see a huge rapper like that on a mainstream, family-friendly platform like that. You know, he was mainly popping off in the 90s. He had some early 2000s, you know what I'm saying? And he stayed relevant. You know what? He's one of those rappers. He really was a comedian, because if you look at his body of work from, you know, I think he kind of got started on the scene in the late 80s, I think, maybe, but he really popped off, what would you say, mid-90s, right? If you look at from the mid-90s to what he was doing in the early 2000s to the 20-teens, very different artists. You know, he still kept the essence of Busta, but, you know, not a lot of rappers can do that. Shape shift and evolve. You know, they come and they give what they got until people don't want it no more. But he really he evolved and was able to rebrand himself and keep up. And he's out here still dipping and doing and looking good. I'm definitely excited to see him in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, because that's probably my favorite part about Thanksgiving anyway. So, big up. You know, we out here winning. You know what I'm saying? Proud to the people. Can we go to the other side of the spectrum now of music world? Can we give a huge congratulations to my girl, Hilary Duff? Oh, This, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This Hillary Duff is she is back. She is back. If you have not heard the new song, go listen to it. It's called Mature. I mean, Hillary, she's been down here doing her activist work, and you see her around. I didn't know we was gonna get more music from Hillary. This is what I needed. This is what the millennial generation needed. Y'all don't understand. When she came out, can we travel down memory lane? I don't care. Even if you did not watch Lizzie McGuire, if you was watching Disney Channel, you was getting the music videos, and so you knew the music. When she came out there and was like, hey now, this is what dreams are made of. And then she came out with that, let's go back to the beginning. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, this is what we needed for the end of 2025. I call me dramatic, but this new song, Mature, it is so good and it's so Hillary. A lot of times you get artists, they've been gone for a while, and then they come back and they try too hard. They go a little overboard with the reinventation. No, Hillary gave us this new Hillary, but she kept everything that we loved her for. And the song is so good. Basically, the message of the song is like, I see you out there with your new girl, but it's funny because she's basically who I was yesterday, which is another Hillary song. So yesterday, haven't you heard that I'm gonna be okay? But anyways, I didn't even do that on purpose. But anyways, the song is called Mature, and it's basically talking about, yeah, I see you over there with your new girl, which is real funny because she's basically me when I was young, before I got smart, before I got mature. And she's like, I bet she loves it when you tell her how mature she sounds. Like I used to love hearing you say. But anyways, it's a good message, but also, gosh, she just looks great. She sounds great. It's very Hillary. It's very I love it. And this was the perfect time of year. I'm definitely going to get the album. And I'm excited to hear more music from her. Oh, gosh. This is just such a big deal. This is great. This was the win that we need. There's a lot going on this year. Especially just in all areas of life. America's really going through it. So thank you, Hillary, for bringing a little glimpse of sunshine in this moment of darkness. But y'all go run out, go listen to it. Mature, Hillary Duff. You know what I'm saying? I just, hey, don't say I didn't tell you. But I think she's, y'all look out for Miss Hillary. That's all I get to say. Glad she wasn't one of them that got canceled. But unfortunately, we got to talk about somebody who is canceled. Or should I say somebody that got canceled on. Let me explain. You people never fail to amaze me. I don't know why y'all get on the internet telling all your business and then being shocked when it backfire on you. Okay, so let me set the scene. There is an Airbnb host who got online and he duetted a video. So on TikTok, you can do something where you can duet a video. So for instance, somebody posts a video and then you can create a video response to their video. But he made it more, he didn't just respond. He edited his video with her video. Anyway, so this is what happened. So the Airbnb host, this guy, he comes on there and he shows some clips of this girl, little young girl, talking about, yeah, I'm going to have this New Year's Eve party at this mansion and I spent $10,000 renting it, or whatever, $7,000, whatever. Renting this place, and it's going to be the Project X of 2025. Now, for those of you who do not remember Project X, remember, it might be 10 years ago now, maybe a little less, give or take. There was a movie that came out called Project X, and the whole premise of this movie was these little young teenage kids or whatever, young college kids or something rather, threw a house party. And it was just supposed to be some people. It ended up being like thousands of people that ended up showing up to this property. And it was like the party, it was like this, it was crazy, right? Fast forward, there was like a Project X style party down in like, I think it was like Galveston, like maybe like a couple years after that movie came out. It actually happened in real life. But, anyways, I digress. So this girl, she's talking about, yeah, I'm gonna have this party, and it's at this Airbnb, and so it's gonna be everyone's gonna come. It's gonna be Project X, and then in between her giving all the details of what she thinks she's gonna do, the Airbnb host is like, "Oh, you think you're gonna do what? You oh really? That's funny. And no, you didn't pay that much. This is what you actually paid." I mean, it was really funny the way that he set it up. All that to say, he ended up telling her in the video, "Sweetie, your shit is canceled." I don't know why. And then it was really funny because he was like, "You how you gonna throw a party on my place that you not even supposed to be throwing a party? You know, Airbnb's real strict about no gatherings, no parties. Don't do that." He said, "You talking about you gonna have these music producers and stuff here?" He was like, "I have music." Or something, the film directors or something. He was like, "I got scripts and stuff I want to share. All this could have been avoided if you would have invited me. Maybe we could have worked something out." But anyways, all that to say, he publicly told this girl, "Your stuff is canceled," and he showed the clip of him canceling her reservation. Now look, this girl is the reason why vacation properties have ridiculous rules, why they are so expensive, why there are so many deposits and extra fees, and why us normal people who try to book these places, why it's such a headache. Because you have people like this who try to do the most. Do you know how many thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars that this man would have had to pay? Because you know it was going to be damages. This is why HOAs say that you are not allowed to run Airbnbs in these neighborhoods, because you have people like this who want to come and they don't give a damn about your neighbors, because all they see it is, "Oh, this is just a fun week, a fun weekend. This is a getaway. I'm never going to see these people again." Baby, you most of the time in these Airbnbs or VRBOs or other vacation homes with the same kind of setup, similar setups, that's somebody's house. That's somebody's home that they do frequent. And at the very least, it's in a neighborhood where people are actually living their everyday lives. You need to be respectful of that space. And it's people like her who just ruin it for everyone. And then you got online and said what you were going to do. Like, I don't understand people who knowingly, willfully, intentionally know that they are breaking or are going to break the rules, the law, or whatever, and then they get online and announce it and think that it's not going to. I don't know what the thought process was. Apparently, wasn't a whole lot of thought process, but even as a young person, it seemed like young people will be more aware of, if I put this on the internet, it could go viral and get back to the wrong people. But what was the end goal here? You were going to throw this party. You're going to have all these people show up. The police were probably going to be called. You were going to be charged a huge fee. Like, what was the... Like... I'm trying to remember what was the end goal here, other than you looking stupid. Really, you better thank this man for canceling your reservation, because he probably saved you from a huge lawsuit or something going really terribly wrong. So I just was like, girl, you got everything you deserved. But people, look, there are event spaces you can rent out to have these types of parties. Stop inviting people to these Airbnbs that aren't supposed to be there. Stop trying to do stuff at these places that you're not supposed to do it. Just go there, sleep there, maybe have a little wine, go swimming in the pool. Be normal. People just try I just, oh Lord, it just ruining it for everybody. Eventually it's just going to come to a point where these renting out Airbnbs and stuff it's going to be obsolete because people don't know how to follow the rules. Just like I saw this girl, and I know it had to be more to the story, but the video you see, this is separate from the story I just talked about for that with the Project X plan. There was another woman in some other Airbnb. She's filming the owner. It's the video starts in the middle of the chaos. So the owner is standing at the front door. The girl recording standing on the steps. Apparently the owner was trying to kick the woman out. I guess she had a couple of guests or whatever. Her and whoever was staying there, the host was trying to kick them out the day of her wedding. It was the morning of her wedding. And he was like, y'all gotta get out. Y'all were loud. Da, 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 da. And it looked like it was a neighbor lady there. I guess they called him and said, they're being loud. They're doing the most. So the girl gets on the phone and calls somebody else. I guess someone who had just left. At this point, it's like 6 a.m. And that person had just left. And I guess the neighbor was saying people were in and out all night. They were being loud. They were doing this. They were doing that. And the girl was like, who was in and out all night? I just left just now. But the way, like I said, the video started in the middle of the chaos. Now, I'm a firm believer of two things can be true. Were those people being loud? Probably. It was the night before the wedding. Her friends were probably had a little bit of the bridal party, got excited, I'm sure they were probably a little noisy, bare minimum, right? Do I think they were the type of noisy or rowdy to where the owner needed to be called? Probably not. You do always have that hating ass neighbor, especially when you black or brown or somebody. It's always somebody around waiting for a reason to cause a ruckus. Now, was that man in the right to try to kick her out? I mean, it depends on what all was happening. I mean, given it was her wedding day, it depends on what happened. There is a line. It does come to a point where I don't care what day it is, you got to get the hell up out of here. But for the most part, though, I think, yeah, sure, I would have come and I would have addressed it. I think I would have let her stay and I would have told her, look, I don't know what y'all were doing, but you can't keep doing this. And I think that I would have maybe had Airbnb charge her an extra fee or something. And I would have let Airbnb know, like, maybe not let this. I would have left a really bad review because I think the host can leave review for the guests as well. I just would have left a really nasty review and let people know that she don't do right. But I don't know that I would have the heart to kick somebody down on their wedding day. Like, I get it. People are excited, and I ain't trying to be the reason I ruin anybody's wedding, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. That was a tough one. But the way she was recording, and we didn't get the whole story, I feel like they probably were doing the most. And she probably did have people there that weren't supposed to be there. But, these are questions that you got to ask. I don't know if that woman moved in knowing that she was living next to her Airbnb or if it just started. I don't know. All I can say is if you're moving somewhere, be aware if there's any Airbnbs in your neighborhood. And if there are, you're just going to have to be understanding. And then also, if you plan on renting out Airbnb in a neighborhood, I would say get acquainted with your neighbors, get a good rapport. Because some people they can't wait to complain. Some people have no life. They have nothing better to do. They're like, oh, they were parked in front of my driveway. Why are they parked in front of my house? Child. Anyway, so catch me in a hotel. Because, baby, I ain't got time for nobody knocking on my door talking about you got to get out. Baby, I ain't got time for it. And I don't do the Airbnb. I go through VRBO. I think they have some less known issues, but I could be wrong. All I'll say is just do your research. Don't be so quick. Google Map stuff. Look up Yelp reviews. Don't just be booking any old thing anywhere. Really know where you stand. All that to say. Speaking of plans failed, getting kicked out. I don't know how to transition into this. Honestly, I don't even know where I saw or heard this. I mean, I've heard this before in the past. Anyways, let me just read what I wrote down in the notes here. It says, telling your kid they were a failed abortion is crazy. And it is, but I have no idea why I'm talking about that now. I've heard, I mean, I guess I've heard it before or something, but I don't know. I don't know if I heard that in a debate talk. I've been watching a lot of debate live podcast things with mostly like Dean Withers, Parker Get a Real Job, Tashika. Who else do I watch? Polly Politics. A bunch of people, but for the most part, Parker and Dean are the main two that I watch. Anyways, I think I heard somebody on there, they were arguing about abortion or something. But anyways, I read or heard somebody say, I guess recently, that their parent told them that they were a failed abortion. And I'm just like, that's crazy. You want to talk about, you do not love yourself, or you do not like your child. Not only do you not like them, you don't like them, you don't love them. Because under what circumstances would you ever need to tell your child that they were a failed abortion? I don't. That's definitely something that you say when you're under the influence of alcohol. I don't think this is just a sober Sunday dinner casual conversation. Oh, by the way. I mean, because what is the end goal there? And what age is it appropriate? Why would you say? I mean, unless you're having a discussion about whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, and you're trying to convince your child one way or another, like, what do you say? Well, you should be pro-life because I try to abort you and you live, so therefore, if it's meant to be, you gotta let God, like, but then you're a hypocrite because you were going to have one and it didn't work. So I mean, other than just psychological damage, traumatic damage, the only thing that makes sense to me to say that is if you're in an argument and you use that as an awful ammunition tactic to be like, I didn't even want your ass, no way, I tried to abort you, your ass wouldn't die. That's a lot. And I feel like if your parent ever told you you were a failed abortion, you might want to cut ties with that relationship. Or I would say immediately seek some kind of family counseling, maybe an AA meeting, because your mother or father they have to be on some kind of substance to tell you that. There's just no reason to ever bring that up. Now, if like an aunt, a cousin, a grandparent, or something accidentally lets it slip out, that's one thing. But you directly telling your kid you were that's crazy. What's even crazier is repeating that online. Because you could not waterboard that information out of me. If somebody told me I was a failed abortion, we don't need to have that conversation. That's crazy. That's crazy. Why would you tell somebody that? Huh? Yeah, that's just anyway. So yes, that's what I wrote down in my notes. Don't remember where I saw it or heard it recently. I'm thinking it was during one of the debates. I kind of vaguely remember. I don't know. Sometimes I'll be writing stuff down, y'all. I'll be like, I don't know the context of this. But anyways, that's just, I guess, an example of very poor parenting. So let's flip it around. Let's talk about some good parenting. And let's talk about another pop star that y'all may or may not remember, Sammy. Y'all remember the singer Sammy? He started when he was a little boy. I like the way you look at me. And then the crazy things I do for love. Y'all know Sammy. And then he grew up and he made a little comeback. And he's put out some little songs over the year. But he was really big back in the Dizzy. You know what I'm saying? The early 2000s. Right? And then he went away for a long time. He was really popping off. He was pre-Bow Wow. You know what I'm saying? But still around that same time. But he was that guy. Love Sammy. One of my first albums. Love him. Crazy about the little boy. So I caught an interview with him. He was on a podcast. I don't know how old it was. It seems like it was pretty recent. I would say within the last year or so. Cause he looks even different from like 5-6 years ago when I saw him. He's been dabbling in some music and stuff. But anyways, Sammy was on this podcast in an interview, and they were asking him why he stopped creating music the first time, when he was a kid. And y'all can look up the interview, but long story short, he said that, hold on. Computer went to sleep. Oh Lord, hope I'm still recording. Are y'all still with me? Houston, are y'all still here? Houston, we have a problem. Earth to MacBook. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm giving up. I ain't never gonna turn that feature off because I keep forgetting I ain't gonna do it. And I keep telling me, oh, why my computer sleep? Anyways, back to the story. So they were asking him, hey, why'd you stop music the first time? And what he said was that his mother was also his manager, his momager. And so his mom / manager in coordination with the producer and I believe the record executive, they all three could not get on the same page. I can't remember who the exact other two people were, but the other two people who were basically in charge of getting the music out and everything, I believe it was the producer and the record exec. Anyways, along with his mom. They could not get on the same page. Of course, mom's always going to be a mom. And you know how the industry can be. And she was being very protective over her son, making sure he wasn't going to get screwed over and all this stuff. And then the producer's just like, look, man, I just want to make up music. Hey, and it was a lot of back and forth. So finally, the record exec or the higher ups or whoever was like, this is too much. Y'all can't get on the same page. We're done. And he talked about how now, or as he got older, I can't remember if he said he really knew that at that time, like what happened per se. But eventually he did find out, what happened. And he said that looking back on it now, he does understand why his mom was the way that she was, as you should. You should protect your child. And he said, of course, he had some feelings about it when he first learned about it, whenever that was. That, of course, you're going to have some feelings like, dang, like my mom ruined my dreams. But he's like, but more importantly, I'm happy that I was not one of those kids who fell victim. He was like, nobody touched me. I was on drugs, nothing bad. I did not lose my soul to that industry. And so when I stepped back into it, I had a deeper appreciation for it. And I have a gratefulness to my mom. He was like, could things have played out differently if, was she maybe a little too much mom and not enough manager? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at the decisions that she made. And he looks great. He looks happy. I would love to see some more Sammy music. I mean, I know he's put some stuff out. So I'm definitely going to keep tabs on him. But I thought that was a very mature thing. But it just goes to show, man, it's really hard to mix business with pleasure. And, look, everything happens for a reason. But Della Boy was very, very talented. And, as a mom, you're going to do what you got to do as a mom. But sometimes sometimes you can be a little overprotective because he really had it and he still has it, but he was really at his peak. And he talked about how Bow Wow was supposed to be on a remix to one of those songs. I don't remember if it was I Like or Crazy Things to Do. Anyways, it was a song that he had out that Bow Wow was supposed to be on the remix of, and it was a music video that he just didn't show up to. Not Bow Wow, but Sammy, like I guess his mom or whatever didn't take him or whatever. And just imagine, you know, obviously, look, what's done is done. You can't go back, but you do sit and ponder. And you do have to think, you know, what if? What really would have come for that? Because we see how huge Bow Wow was. I mean, I don't think there's ever. Bow Wow was the first of his kind as far as being like a teen heartthrob rapper like that. And I don't think there was any other one that ever came after him. He was very much in his own league. Like it was nothing to have like a teen heartthrob R&B singer or a pop singer or something. But here you had this little boy doing this commercial rap. He was huge. And I think that Sammy really could have had that same type of success because even though when he came back when he was older, I think he's had like a hit or two. But it was nothing like when he first came out. And maybe he will find that success again later on. But kudos to him for having the maturity to see it in hindsight because a lot of people wouldn't be able to be that big. Some people would look back on it and have a lot of resentment and a lot of, you know, animosity towards that parent. Like, wow, you ruined this for me. And I wonder how his mother felt. I wonder if his mother looks back and is like, maybe I could have handled it different. Or maybe she stands 10 toes down on what she did. But I'm just glad to see the young man out here, you know, I think we're the same age. He might be a year older, a year younger. We might be the exact same age. Anyways, it's great to see him out here looking good, looking great. And he might pull a Hillary Duff, you know what I'm saying? Everybody have their moment in time. You know, so hey, could he have been the next Chris Brown? I don't know about all that, but but all that to say, it was great to see him. That was a really good story. If anybody's interested in the interview, I will certainly figure that out. I just saw a little segment. I didn't even watch the whole thing, but it's good to see the people that came out when you were a kid. It's good to see them like still doing well, not bitter, not angry, not blaming other people for stuff, because you do have some people that grow up and they just want to blame everybody. Like homegirl from, y'all remember what was the name of the show? Even Steven. Yeah, Even Stevens. Y'all know the sister from Even Stevens. What's her name? Christy Carlson. Let me tell you about this girl. Love you, Sammy. Love you so much. But let me tell y'all about somebody who is bitter, who wants to blame everybody. Christy Carlson Romano, who's most famous for playing the older sister on Even Stevens. That girl, she was also on Cadet Kelly with Hillary Duff. Baby, let me tell you something. I know how to tie a story together. But anyways, she's really out here bitter boobs. And she feels like Anne Hathaway. Y'all know Anne Hathaway, right? The Princess Diaries, right? Amongst, y'all know Anne Hathaway. Devil Wears Prada, The Idea of You, you know, Love and Other Drugs. Y'all know Anne Hathaway. So anyways, back in the Disney, they would go out for some of the same roles. And at this time, you know, Christy Romano, you know, she out here popping. She on Disney. She's doing a couple little things. You know, her name's out there. She so-called claims that she auditioned for, I believe it was Princess Diaries. And this was before no one knew who Anne Hathaway was, which was really important for Princess Diaries. Because if you never seen Princess Diaries, the whole premise of the movie was this regular ordinary girl, kind of nerdy, dorky. Come to find out, she's a princess. She's royalty, and she goes from being just kind of this regular, plain Jane, nobody, quote unquote girl, to being like the most, what I'm saying, recognizable, most. And the big part of what made that movie work is somebody you don't know. And while I'm not going to take away from Christy Romano, she is a great actress. She really, really is. Especially back in the day, she was great. I think she could have done the role, but I think, especially at that time, I think she was a little too popular. And to be able to pull off the essence of the Princess Diary, I just think she was too famous to be able to pull that off, if that makes sense. So, anyways, fast forward to today. Christy Romano, she's making a little video. She's walking down the street and she was like, basically saying, "Yeah, I feel like Anne stole that gig from me," and like she doesn't blame Anne, but she blames the people that picked her to play the part over herself. And I'm just like, girl, first of all, how long ago did Princess Diaries come out? Even if she did take that role from you, which as an actress, that comes with the game. It's always going to be somebody who's going to take the role that you want. People, these casting directors and stuff, most of the time it has nothing to do with you on a personal level. It's just something very specific that they're looking for that role, and either they see it in you or they don't. But they remember you for other gigs. Sometimes it's not about your acting chops or where you went to school. It's not even about who you know. It's just about whatever that director or writer or casting director, whatever they have in their mind. It could be somebody that walking down the street who has no interest in acting, or it could be an A-list celebrity. It's just something that they have that, like, yes, that's it. That's what we need for that role. So why are you sitting over here taking it personal? All she did was go in and audition. And that was meant for her. Why all these years later you sitting over here talking about, yeah, I should have had that? And she's said some other things, just blaming people. I'm thinking, baby, if you was really about all that, if you was really, you know, easy to work with or had the great acting chops or something, or if it was just meant for you, don't you think you would have had something by now? You think that was the thing that threw a wrench in your plans? I just don't like that. I don't like people who want to look back and they're such a victim. And plus you've been in this industry too long to be sitting here talking about somebody stole something. What are you talking about? This is Hollywood. Baby, this is not personal. Don't hate, man, look. Don't hate the player, hate the game by definition. Somebody else who likes to play the victim card. Now, I'm so sorry. Y'all might be big fans of Amanda Seales, but this is somebody else who I feel like she plays the victim card. Now, look, normally I go out of my way to not talk bad about other black women in a negative light. Even if I feel like they did something wrong or I disagree, I try to only speak about black women positively. If it's something about them that I don't like, that I don't agree with or something, I would just I just won't talk about it. I just won't say it, because black women talk bad on other black women. It's played out, it's jacked up, and other people feel like they have permission to speak bad on it. It's already enough people in the world that are so quick to throw shade on other black women that we don't need to do it to each other. We get bashed enough. But I'm just, for the sake of conversation, I do have to pick on Amanda Seales. So Amanda Seales, if y'all remember, she was out here popping couple years ago. She was everywhere. It was nothing you could turn on that you weren't seeing this girl. She's a comedian, actress. She does all the things. She is really a renaissance woman. I can't knock the hustle. Then, kind of nowhere, she just started getting this hate train. She started getting hate from, the girl couldn't dodge a damn bullet. And it really wasn't anything necessarily to her own detriment. It's just that when you say things, when you speak out of turn, when you say things that maybe the political climate is not ready for, it don't take much to get rid of black people, especially black women. So if you're going to be an activist, if you're going to say the things, you got to know you're going to piss some people off. And that might mean getting your show pulled, getting your radio show pulled, getting your comedy tour canceled. I mean, she was getting everything pulled. And she talks about that. She's actually coming out with a book if you want more detail. Also, you can listen to her on Monet Talks with Monet Exchange podcast. You can hear the full story. But basically, Amanda was talking about, look, I said these things and these people wanted me off the air and these Zionists came for me and da 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 da. But anyways, the point is I'm not saying that what Amanda Seales is saying isn't true. Do I feel like somebody came after her because they didn't like some of her political stances? They probably did. It happens all the time. And I'm glad that she has found a way to kind of make the best of her situation, to go on business for herself, be more of an independent content creator. I like that she's still going. I like that she didn't just go in a hole and hide. But there's just something about her that it does have this victim mentality. Like, you knew that your stances and the things you were saying or weren't saying were going to rub people the wrong way. And you're old enough to know that that might mean getting kicked out of mainstream media. So why the surprise? She sounds bitter. Like she tries to pass herself off, like I'm perfectly okay with running my own everything and being, putting out my own podcast and doing everything all by myself. Are you okay? She tries to come off like she's so happy to be so independent with all of this stuff. And she was like, I just, it made me realize that limelight of Hollywood, it just wasn't for me. Was it not for you? Or are you trying to convince yourself for that? It goes back to two things can be true. You said what you said, and you're glad that you said what you said. But it's also okay for you to say, but I wish I didn't have everything taken away. Where's the vulnerability? That's what I can't get with on her. There's something she can kind of come off as kind of know-it-all-y and kind of grand and kind of pretending like she's unbothered. She doesn't give truly unbothered. And that's why I'm like, there's something about you, girl, that just there's no vulnerability there. Is she smart? What you can't say though, Amanda Seales, you cannot say that she is not intelligent. You can't say that she's not insightful. You can't say that she has some very interesting POVs. I respect the hustle. I respect what she's trying to do, but there's something in her that is not healed. There's something about her that just comes off as a front and as a fake. And she tries really hard to come off as the smartest person in the room. When you don't need to try that hard, you probably are the smartest person in the room. If she could just be real, she could really go very far. Like, you can tell the people who are actually really confident in themselves, on who actually exude a type of peace, and versus people who are pretending. Women like Queen Latifah, I'm gonna use her as an example. When she speaks, because that's always been Queen Latifah's platform, is Black excellence, intelligent creativity, women empowerment, loving life, just being real, down to earth. She always has something. She's always gonna leave you with a a one-liner. She's gonna leave you with a message. You're gonna walk. Has a very strong philosophy about life, but she doesn't push it on you. And when she speaks, it's very deliberate, but it's not fake. It's not put on. It's just who she is, and she just exudes this peace and this self-awareness that I think Amanda Seales is trying to do. That she just hasn't, and I think that she will get there. And I respect. I ain't gonna bash her, but it's just, I don't know, girl. I don't know. But that's me. And you know what? Look, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't consumed a ton of Amanda Seales content, but I've been aware of her, and I see her here and there. And maybe if I consumed a little more, maybe I might feel differently. But I just could never get past. She just feels a little too pretentious or grand or something. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, big up to Amanda Seales. The Amanda of the Seals, you know what I'm saying? Anyhow, let us move on. I don't know how to segue into this. I forgot that I even put this. Why? I should really try to construct the podcast in a way that it flows. But I think that y'all are used to me kind of. Sometimes I'll go in and I'll rearrange the topic so that they flow. But see, what happened here is I wasn't planning on talking about Christy and Amanda. I done went off on a tangent, and so maybe it would have flowed a little better. But anywho, let's wake this up. Girl leaves blind friend at club. That's what I have on my list. Now, let me tell y'all this story. Picture this. Wow, I'm channeling Sophia, Golden Girls. But anyways, picture this. There's this girl. She's blind. She goes out to the club with her friend. There's this guy on the dance floor that she's dancing with. The blind girl's dancing with the guy. Then her friend comes over and kind of moves her out of the way. So the blind friend was like, whatever. Like, damn, but okay, right? So she starts dancing with somebody else. So the blind girl said she's been dancing, and she said she wasn't quite sure how much time went by, but it was probably maybe about 40, 45 minutes went past. Maybe a little more, a little less. And she realizes, like, her friend hasn't said anything. You're dancing on the dance floor. Nobody's really talking like that. But, enough time passed and was like, dang, she ain't said nothing. Like, what's going on? So she starts to try to, like, play it off and kind of feel around because she knows what her friend's dress feels like. Blind people are very hyper aware of other details with their other senses and stuff. So she starts trying to feel like the fabric of, like, the other patrons around, and she doesn't feel her friend's dress. So the guy that she's dancing with, or somebody next to her, before she even did that, she takes out her phone and turns the volume up and has her phone read, recent text messages. This blind girl in the middle of the dance floor, in a nightclub, here's the text message from her friend saying, "I'm not having a good time. I went home. Have a good night." Bitch, what? Okay, so obviously now the blind girl is going into panic mode, right? Of course, as anybody would. So now she has to ask the guy next to her, the guy she was dancing with, or whoever. She taps this guy and says, "I'm blind." She pulled out her cane and showed him. She said, "I'm blind. My friend left. I need help getting in an Uber and getting home." Now she's got to trust this stranger. He had to help her down the steps, help her get to the Uber, and then not only she had to trust this person, but she had to trust the Uber driver to get her home safe. So the girl got home, Friend never text, never called, never nothing. And she was like, I wasn't about to text the girl first. So then the next day, the girl gonna text and say, hey, how was your night? Or some shit. What the bro? Do you know how miserable, how jealous, and how hating you gotta be to leave? I don't care if the girl was blind or not, but the fact that you left a blind person adds a whole nother level of you are a sociopath for real. But to leave anyone alone at a club, especially a woman, especially a blind woman, you left to leave someone. If we come together, we leave together. I don't care if it's men. You don't leave nobody alone at a bar at a club. Like, what are you? I would press charges. I don't know what kind of charges, but I would press them. Luckily, the woman made it home safe, but can you imagine? I mean, I would be scared, mad, and upset as someone who is not visually impaired. But imagine being blind, completely blind, and you realize you are anywhere by yourself, especially a nightclub. What if she couldn't find somebody to help her? Because everybody's drinking and stuff. Or some people might be like, "Oh, girl, she's playing," or so, I mean, anything could have happened. And she got lucky twice because you found somebody who was decent enough to help, but then also the Uber driver could have left, and who would have known? And depending on where you live, the Uber driver could have just dropped her off anyway. Like, how do you know she could have made it back to? I don't know if she was in an apartment or a house, or how do you know? Like that's some crazy cold stuff. Y'all be so quick to call these people y'all friends. They don't care if you want. These people hate on you. You can't even see this girl's that jealous. That's so upset, so mad. That girl was so jealous of you dancing with whoever. And apparently the guy was some famous football player or something, and the girl was jealous. I mean, it got really stupid. And these people, these women, this girl, she was at least my age, so way too old for these type of reindeer games. I mean, absolutely not. That's sweetie. Y'all be so quick. And good thing she had Uber money, because what? We ain't got to go through all the scenarios that they could have been jacked up, but it was really jacked up. And it was for that girl to try to. I hope she didn't try to act like it was a misunderstanding or something, because baby, that is not a misunderstanding. Okay, but you want to know what is a misunderstanding? This is the last topic. I tried to segue. How was that? This here is a misunderstanding of the lyrics. Speaking of club, okay, y'all know the song Encore, right, by Cheryl Lynn. They still be out here playing in the clubs. It's just a good song. I've never not heard that song in a club or at a skate rink. I've heard the song. It's still a banger. It hits. They still work that song in there. Isn't that great that song is still alive and well? It just gets you going. Deserves an encore. Your song deserves an encore. Okay, so y'all know the song. Tell me why this dude he get on back to little TikTok talking about, man, I thought this was a gospel song. And he said he was in the club and he was singing that song. He thought the woman was saying, Jesus, I'm yours, instead of deserves an encore. Bro, he said, I always thought it was a gospel song. And then people was like, okay, have you ever heard the song in a gospel setting? How did you think? Now, this ain't the first time I done heard somebody say that they got the words wrong, but I remember maybe a year or so ago, somebody thought she was saying, he's hers and I'm yours. They thought it was a song about cheating or something. I don't know. And I was like, Y'all, the song is called Encore. Like, what is I mean, I now left a comment. I was like, so have you just did you just never listen to the other lyrics of a song? Like, what? How? What gave gossip? What? Gossip. What gave gospel? He thought it was a praise worship song. He really thought this lady was out here saying, Jesus, I'm yours. What? But anyways, he said he was singing into the club and people was laughing. They was like, what are you saying? He was like, what's funny? He was like, they were like, what did you say? He's like, Jesus, I'm yours. No, man. He was like, did y'all know she was saying deserves an encore? Yeah, nigga, yeah, we do that. Man, look, I ain't gonna ever say I don't be making up lyrics. I be getting it wrong. I'm notorious for that. But it never gave praise and worship. Going to the picture show after working hard, 9 to 5. Like what? I don't. I don't understand how we got. Y'all really don't be listening to the words. Y'all just be going off of vibes. But still, the beat stuff, it don't give praise and worship. It don't even give a Kirk Franklin. Like, I know Kirk used to, you make me wanna stomp. Do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. And then you had, it's like God in me. Hey, hey, it's like God in me. Like, I know some of these songs can give club. I don't know. Y'all lost me on that one. But anyways, I thought that was funny. So now when I hear that song, I'm gonna throw in a couple Jesus, I'm yours. I'm gonna throw in Hallelujah. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. I done sat up here and ran told that. Anyways, we did a little rambling, but anyways, go ahead and check out the new Hillary Duff. Okay, Amanda Seales is coming out with a book. I'm gonna give a little promo. I support Black women. She's coming out with a book. She's got a lot of things going on right now that you might be interested in. She's got some comedies, specials and stuff. Seek her out if you want to. Give a chance. Don't take my word for it. Get your own impression of her. Mark your calendars. Make sure you watch the Thanksgiving Macy Day Parade. Put an alarm on so you can see the Buster Bus. And Sammy. Check him out. You know what I'm saying? And whoever else I mentioned. Okay, big up to everybody. Y'all be easy. And if you wanna be somebody, if you wanna go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. Pay attention.